My conscience is pricking me to make this video. Young men don't want to go to church anymore. Not very often. Especially the ones like me. And I'm a Christian. In fact, that is the core of everything that I believe in, is Jesus. Why do young Christian men not want to go to church anymore? It's because churches have nothing to offer young men. That is incorrect. I said that for a purpose. And it's not incorrect in the way you probably think it's incorrect. It's not necessarily that churches don't have anything to offer young men. It's that they don't offer anything to young men. There's something that could be gained there. Obviously, if a church is for God, God is the most important thing of every man's life, or at least he should be. So there's something to offer, but there's nothing being offered. So what's missing? When I look for advice, I don't go to people in the church. I don't go to pastors. Not anymore. When I go into church, I feel not necessarily alienated. A lot of the people seem like good people, but they're all people that are weak. And that sounds, I know that God is supposed to be strong in our weaknesses, but what I mean weak is they are people that do not stand up for what they believe in. They are people that I'm not necessarily pointing out that they are just simply pointing out that they are human and that they have flaws. Yes, we all have flaws, but I don't see any striving to be disciplined. I don't see any striving to be bold. There's no new sermons. I'm sick and tired of hearing the same sermons on faith week after week, the same sermons on mercy week after week, salvation week after week, in a very soft, palatable way. The problem is that churches are trying to give people something that they think that they want. They're trying to make the message as watered down as possible in order to include the largest audience and attract many people, not trying to offend people. Now, this is a huge, huge problem for retaining young men. Because why? Well, think about what happens when you add extra water to coffee. It's weaker. The message is weak. The message has no potency, no strength, and there's nothing interesting for men. Why do so many men that are disciplined, that want to make their lives better, join the military? I don't think it is a good idea to join the military. Fighting wars for money, for a government that frankly does not care about you. Getting stuffed with all sorts of chemicals as a guinea pig. But why do men like me go to the military instead of church? It's because there's a certain standard, there's discipline, there's structure, and there's some meaning to derive from it. It's something that you have to become tough in order to facilitate in your life. You don't want to, you become part of something bigger that you can put your effort towards, and that is war. Men are designed to, not just for war, but to do things productive, to build things. And when they go into a church and they look around and all that's there is just love, 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 mercy, mercy, mercy. There's no justice. There's no big meaning behind the things. There's nothing that indicates to the men that this is the place where they're going to learn to stand up for something and therefore derive meaning for their life. There's nothing in churches that makes men feel, wow, I gotta be tough to be here, because this is meaningful and people want to attack things that are meaningful. Men intrinsically know that, especially men that have any degree of intelligence, wisdom, that are not asleep and just seeking comfort. They understand that people, bad people, attack good things, which means to be a part of something good and meaningful. The more meaningful and the more good it is, the more it's going to be attacked. So men know that the place that you're most likely to find the gold is where you least want to find it. Enter the forest at the darkest spot, like Jordan Peterson says about the King Arthur story. If you want to find the Holy Grail, look in the darkest spot of the forest. Find the dragon and you will find the gold. Now, men like me intrinsically know this. They know that they are supposed to suffer before they get the most meaningful, valuable thing in life. And so they are seeking this meaning from figures like Andrew Tate. Oh, we gotta cancel culture. We've got to fight the Matrix. And this sounds like a sexy and meaningful thing to be a part of, something that excites men. Oh, I can struggle and fight this war, this intellectual and financial war in order to free people and free myself. If the church does not provide this, they will lose strong men, because strong men are not seeking a soft, weak message. What about that do pastors not jolly understand? They don't understand that being soft and being cool and wearing skinny jeans and providing coffee in the morning and wearing a little chain around your neck, that kind of stuff, playing rock music, having palatable vocal melodies and stuff like that, that stuff does not bring men into your church. Why do you not understand that? Men want something meaningful, not something comfortable. There's only one place you can find the gold. That's in the place you least want to look, the most uncomfortable place. So men are looking for this war, they're looking for this adventure that they can go on. Something that they can fight for, that they feel that they need to fight for in order to achieve. Yes, God is doing most of the work. Yes, God doesn't need us. But if you want young men in your churches, you're going to need to give them something more than comfort, something more than trendy pop rock music and coffee in the morning. You're going to need to give them an adventure, some crazy goal. If men felt like they were fighting for something where they might get their head chopped off, but it's the right thing to do, that sounds more like an adventure. That sounds like something meaningful. Like someone bad is trying to fight against them. And in order to do something good, they have to be tough. They have to be gritty. They have to follow the Lord piece by piece. Every little verse they have to take and let it settle into their souls so that they are equipped to combat the evil in this world. That's what men like myself want. We don't want another message that is just supposed to pander to everybody. Another meaningless little mercy message. Oh, it's okay if you've sinned. Yes, I know it's okay if you have sinned. But what's the other side of it? Where is the adventure? Where is the meaning? Go to church on a Sunday, drink your coffee, eat your donuts, feel good. There's a fat pastor who has a message, never talking about gluttony, which is a sin he is suffering from, but he kicks out alcoholics, kicks out people that are addicted to pornography in his worship group, and yet he has a lot of those sins himself. He has the sins of lust, he looks at women, certain way, he has the sin of greed. So many pastors that I know, so many worship leaders that I know are in all these ridiculous sins. The amount of worship leaders I've heard of in sexual sin, the amount of worship leaders I know of that do all sorts of things, drugs, the amount of worship leaders that, okay, well, I will say drugs is less common. But sexual immorality is very common amongst pastors as well. Deception amongst pastors, my goodness. Greed amongst pastors, pastors that I personally know, cheating people out of thousands of dollars, using little creepy salesy techniques in their speech and stuff. Now I'm getting all ranty. Now I'm not quiet like I was. I'm quite emotional about this because this is important. When I want advice, why do I go to non-Christian people? Why do I go to Andrew Tate to look for discipline? Jesus had the most discipline. Jesus was pure. I can go to Jesus, but when I go to a church, it's some fat pastor who has no discipline in his life, whose wife keeps him in check. He doesn't even keep himself in check, let alone lead his entire family. He doesn't even keep himself in check. He has this little joke in the beginning of the sermon. Oh, good thing my wife keeps me in check. Otherwise, I just wouldn't be able to handle anything. Yes, your wife is supposed to help you, mate. But your wife is not supposed to be the entire powerful force in your family. You are supposed to be that rock for your family. We've got it all upside down. The man is supposed to be the leader, and the woman is supposed to help him. That doesn't mean he's supposed to be domineering, but does that mean that he is supposed to make decisions and at least keep himself in check? And not only that, and this might offend you, but that's okay, the rest of the family he is supposed to keep in check. He is responsible for the bad things that happen to and with his family. Things that his kids do that are irresponsible, he is still responsible for what they do. So he has to deal with the consequences. He has to deal with the consequences of what his wife does. That's a lot of responsibility. Men need to take that responsibility, and with that responsibility comes a degree of leadership, a degree of authority. If you're supposed to be responsible for someone's safety, you have to have the ability to tell them, no, we're not going to go down that dark alley. Yes, I am going to buy a gun and put it under my pillow because I heard some gunshots. Yes, I'm going to do X, Y, and Z to protect my family. If you rebel against Papa, then Papa has no responsibility to protect you. That's the way it works. He is supposed to sacrifice himself and be responsible for everything. Everything is the man's fault. I mean, obviously, sin. Obviously, there's little things that are going to be, to a degree, the responsibility of everyone else. But all the consequences not only fall on those individuals, but the collective consequences from the family fall on the man. He has that burden, but he's also got to have that authority. If he has no responsibility, he is a child. If he has no authority, he is a child. He can just play video games and let his wife be the mom of the family, including his mom. Anyway, off on a tangent. But churches, if you want young men that are going to move mountains in your church, you need to give them the real gospel. You need to give them Christ, bold Christ, not watered down Christ, not half the messages. You need to tell them, hey, you know that LGBT friend? Be bold. Go talk to them. Be loving, but be bold. Go talk to them and tell them the gospel. Tell them that homosexuality is wrong. Tell them that transgenderism is wrong. Be bold, men. The church needs bold men. And if you don't see that, You've already failed. And no wonder men are leaving the churches. Godspeed.